The galaxy had never seen anyone like Princess Zira of Valoria. She was not only beautiful, with shimmering violet eyes and silver hair that glowed under the starlight, but also wise beyond her years. Her people loved her for her kindness, her fairness, and the way she listened to everyone, even the smallest voice among them. Across the stars, she was known as the crown jewel of Valoria, a symbol of grace and power. Every major civilization in the galaxy wanted her hand in marriage. Wealthy lords, powerful warlords, and influential rulers sent messages of devotion, offering vast empires, treasures, and fleets as gifts. Their ships, bright and enormous, would orbit Valoria, showing off their technology and strength. The galaxy watched in fascination as these aliens tried to impress the young princess. Some came in ships made of pure crystal. Others carried armies as a demonstration of their might. Every corner of the galaxy seemed to hope they could win her favor. Yet despite all the attention, Zira felt an emptiness inside. She could see through the gifts, the displays, and the speeches. Most of them wanted her not for who she was, but for the power she represented. They saw her as a prize, a key to gain influence or claim an alliance. She felt trapped in a game she did not want to play. Zira longed for someone who could see her as a person, not as a title or an object of ambition. One evening, Zira stood on the balcony of the palace, overlooking Valoria's capital city. The twin moons reflected off the rivers, and the lights of the city sparkled like stars fallen to the ground. She took a deep breath and let her thoughts wander. She imagined meeting someone brave, kind, and clever, someone who would treat her like an equal. A human, she thought with a small smile, would be perfect. Humans were rare in the galaxy. Most aliens considered them weak, ordinary, or incapable of great things. But stories had reached her about humans who had done extraordinary deeds. Zira felt curious about them, especially one human in particular, Captain Alex Rin. Alex's name had traveled far. He was a human from a distant star system called Terra Prime. Unlike many humans, Alex had no army, no vast fortune, and no claim to political power. Yet he had saved colonies from natural disasters, negotiated peace between warring planets, and explored dangerous regions of space where others feared to go. Zira had never met him, but the stories of his courage and intelligence made her heart beat faster. She wondered what it would be like to meet a human who was not afraid, who could think quickly, and who would treat her as a person, not a prize. Meanwhile, the galaxy continued its preparations for the grand event that Valoria had planned. Zira's advisors called it a selection ceremony, a chance for the princess to meet all her potential suitors in one place. It was to be a spectacle unlike any other, held in a floating arena above the planet with platforms suspended in zero gravity. Alien nobles were to demonstrate their strength, intelligence, and wisdom. Each performance would be broadcast across the galaxy. The palace was busy with preparations. Designers worked day and night creating costumes, holographic displays, and challenges for the suitors. Chefs prepared feasts from every planet, and engineers tested security systems. Yet Zira remained distant from all of it. She wandered the corridors of the palace thinking of someone who could make her smile without needing to impress anyone. On the morning of the ceremony, the floating arena shimmered under the light of Valoria's twin suns. Ships of every shape and color lined the sky. Some were huge, almost as big as small moons. Others were sleek and fast, gliding gracefully. Zira's heart pounded with excitement and nervousness. The suitors began to arrive, each presenting themselves with grand gestures. A ruler from the planet Xandria lowered a crystal orb filled with glowing liquid as a gift. A warlord from the planet Veyron demonstrated a sword dance in zero gravity. Each tried to outshine the others, but to Zira, it all felt the same. Empty displays meant to dazzle her eyes, not touch her heart. As the ceremony continued, Zira noticed a small commotion at the edge of the arena. A human had arrived, unannounced, without invitation. He did not bring a fleet or a throne or treasures. He walked calmly, carrying only a small satchel and a polite smile. He looked ordinary, almost too ordinary among the display of grandeur. Yet something about him made Zira's curiosity spike. The human introduced himself as Captain Alex Rin. He explained that he had been traveling nearby and heard of an emergency at a colony near Valoria. He had come to help, not to seek marriage, wealth, or glory. The nobles scoffed at him. "Why would the princess notice a human?" they whispered. "He has nothing to offer." But Zira noticed. She saw the confidence in his eyes, the calm in his movements, and the way he treated the assistants and guards with respect. When a security drone malfunctioned and started moving dangerously close to the audience, Alex stepped forward without hesitation. With a quick calculation and precise timing, he disabled the drone without causing harm to anyone. The crowd gasped. Many aliens were impressed, though they tried to hide it. Zira, however, felt a spark of excitement she had never felt before. After the ceremony, the human was escorted to a quiet chamber to speak with Zira. She looked at him directly. "You did not come here for wealth, fame, or power," she said softly. "Why did you come?" Alex smiled. "Because I believe in helping others," he said. "I heard someone might be in danger. I wanted to help. Nothing more." Zira found herself smiling, a rare smile that came from deep inside. She felt relief and fascination at the same time. Here was someone who acted out of kindness and courage, not ambition or greed. For the first time in her life, Zira felt that she could see the person behind the title, the being behind the mask. The nobles outside were still debating and plotting. Many did not understand why Zira would even allow a human to approach her. Some were offended, some confused, and some openly jealous. They whispered that humans were weak and unworthy. But Zira did not care. She only cared about the feeling she had in her chest, a feeling of curiosity, respect, and perhaps something more. That night, the stars over Valoria seemed to shine brighter than ever. Zira stood again on her balcony, thinking about the human who had arrived uninvited and yet changed her day completely. She wondered about his adventures, his courage, and what drove him to help others when no one would watch. For the first time, she imagined that maybe, just maybe, she could find someone who saw her not as a prize, but as a partner. And somewhere across the stars, Captain Alex Ryn was also looking at Valoria. Unaware that he had captured the attention of the most famous princess in the galaxy, he did not seek fame, recognition, or rewards. He only acted because it was right. But fate, it seemed, had chosen their paths to cross at exactly this moment. In that instant, the galaxy did not know it yet, but a story was beginning that would shock every civilization, every ruler, and every noble who believed that wealth, power, and status were the keys to the heart of Princess Zira. A story of courage, kindness, and the unexpected strength of a human was about to unfold. And Zira, for the first time in her life, felt a spark of excitement and hope that she had never known. The morning after the grand ceremony, Valoria's sky was alive with the colors of countless ships leaving the floating arena. Most of the alien suitors had returned to their planets, muttering and plotting, disappointed that their performances had not impressed Princess Zira as they had hoped. Their gifts, displays, and demonstrations of power seemed meaningless to her now. Zira, however, could not stop thinking about the human, Captain Alex Ryn, who had acted without fear or pretense. She wandered through the palace gardens, where the silver leaves of the trees shimmered in the sunlight. The gardens were calm, quiet, and full of life. Birds with feathers of emerald and sapphire sang, and small pools reflected the colors of the sky. Zira liked to come here when she wanted peace. Today she was not looking for peace. She wanted to see the human again. Her attendants approached, bowing politely. "Princess, the human wishes to see you," one of them said. Zira raised her hand, a signal to allow him in. She felt a flutter of anticipation. Most humans had a reputation for being ordinary, even fragile, yet Alex had shown courage that rivaled the most powerful aliens. Alex entered the garden calmly, carrying nothing but his satchel. He did not bow deeply like the nobles did. Instead, he offered a polite nod. His presence was unassuming, yet it commanded attention. Zira noticed the contrast immediately. Here was someone who did not try to impress, yet felt important simply by being himself. "You came back," Zira said, her voice soft but steady. "I did not expect to see you again so soon." "I wanted to," Alex replied. "I finished the report on the colony I mentioned yesterday. It seems they are safe now. I thought I should check on you before leaving." His words were simple, honest, and respectful. There was no hidden meaning, no request for favor, and no attempt to charm her. Zira felt a warmth she had not experienced with any of her alien suitors. She motioned for him to sit on a nearby bench made of polished crystal. They sat in silence for a moment, the breeze rustling the silver leaves around them. Zira felt curious, wondering what kind of person could act with such calm confidence. Most of her suitors had come with fleets, gifts, or armies. Alex had arrived with nothing but his skill, his mind, and his courage. "You are different from the others," Zira said finally. "They all want something from me. You just came to help." Alex looked at her, his eyes steady. "Helping is its own reward," he said simply. "I do not seek wealth or power. I act because it is right. That is all." Zira felt a smile tug at her lips. There was a purity in his words that she had never heard from anyone else. The humans' reputation in the galaxy was mixed. Many considered them weak, simple, or too small to matter. But here was one human proving that strength came not from power or wealth, but from courage, intelligence, and heart. The attendants gave them space, allowing the conversation to continue privately. Zira leaned closer, curious. "Tell me about your adventures," she said. "I want to understand why humans are so different." Alex chuckled softly. "Different is one word for it. We face a lot of danger in our worlds. Sometimes it is natural disasters, sometimes it is political disputes. We learn to adapt quickly, we learn to think fast, and sometimes we just have to trust ourselves when others hesitate." He spoke with humility, never boasting. Yet Zira could sense the weight of his experiences. He had faced threats and challenges that would have terrified most alien nobles. Yet he carried himself with calm confidence, using his mind more than force and always considering the lives of others first. As they spoke, Zira realized that she had never felt so comfortable with anyone. Most of her alien suitors had been loud, dramatic, and focused on impressing her. Alex was quiet, thoughtful, and sincere. He did not see her as a prize to win. He saw her as a person, as an equal. Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden alert. A message flashed across the palace screens. A nearby space colony was under threat from a rogue asteroid that had veered off course. Panic began to spread among the palace staff. Most advisors scrambled to summon fleets and defense systems. Zira looked at Alex. "This is sudden," she said. Alex nodded. "It is dangerous but not impossible," he said. He quickly analyzed the situation, pulling out a small device from his satchel. Holographic images of the asteroid and the colony appeared above it. "We need to calculate its trajectory. If we can launch a countermeasure from Valoria's orbit, we can redirect it safely." The palace advisors were stunned. They were used to complex protocols and military specialists. Yet Alex was calmly taking charge, assessing the problem in minutes. Zira felt a surge of admiration. She had seen courage in action before, but this was different. He was not only brave, he was clever, focused, and completely unafraid to take responsibility. Zira turned to him. "Do you want help?" she asked. "I do not need it," Alex said gently. "But if you want to learn, I can guide you. This is about the colony, not us." Zira nodded. "Then let's do it together." For the next hour, they worked side by side, calculating trajectories, predicting outcomes, and preparing the defense measures. Zira had learned much in her royal training, but Alex's human approach was different, creative, fast, and practical. He explained each step patiently, and Zira found herself amazed by his mind. Finally, the countermeasure was ready. With a coordinated effort, they launched it from Valoria's orbit. The asteroid slowly changed course, safely bypassing the colony. A cheer went up from the palace staff and distant colonies watching the event. Alex's calm leadership had prevented a disaster. Zira turned to him, her eyes wide with admiration. You did this. All of this. Without any army, without any fleet, without anything but your mind." Alex smiled softly. "We humans rely on thinking and courage. We cannot always match power with power, but we can always find a solution." The other aliens who had been observing were shocked. Many of them had fleets larger than small planets, yet none could have acted as quickly or effectively. Zira felt a new respect for humans growing in her heart. She realized that bravery and intelligence could come in forms no one expected. After the crisis, Zira invited Alex to the palace dining hall. They shared a quiet meal, talking about stars, planets, and the lives of ordinary people across the galaxy. Zira felt a sense of connection she had never felt with anyone else. The alien nobles who had come before her could not inspire such admiration. They were too focused on impressing her with wealth, power, and titles. Alex had inspired her with his heart and mind. Even as the day ended, rumors began to spread across the galaxy. A human had not only arrived unannounced at the princess's ceremony, but had also saved a colony and impressed the princess herself. Whispers of surprise, jealousy, and disbelief spread through Valoria's courts and beyond. Some could not believe a human could accomplish so much. Others began to wonder if perhaps humans were underestimated. Zyra, however, did not care about the whispers. She cared about the feeling she had in her heart, a mixture of curiosity, respect, and admiration. She knew she wanted to see Alex again, to learn more about him, and perhaps even share more adventures. That night, as Valoria's twin moons rose high in the sky, Zyra stood on her balcony looking out at the stars. She thought about the human who had changed her day, the human who had proven that courage and cleverness could outshine power and wealth. Somewhere across the galaxy, Alex might be looking at the same stars, unaware of the impact he had made. And in that moment, Zyra realized that her life, and perhaps the life of the entire galaxy, was about to change. A human had stepped into her world, and he was not leaving anytime soon. After the asteroid incident, Princess Zyra found herself thinking about Captain Alex Rin constantly. He had arrived unexpectedly, a simple human with no title, no wealth, and no army. Yet he had solved a problem that even the most powerful alien fleets could not handle. He had acted with courage, intelligence, and calm determination. Zyra realized that she had never felt such admiration for anyone before. The next day, she sent a discreet message asking Alex to meet her in the palace gardens. The sun was low in the sky, casting golden light on the silver leaves. Birds with iridescent feathers sang in harmony, creating a peaceful atmosphere. Zyra paced quietly, waiting for him. When Alex arrived, he carried his usual calm expression and a small bag with supplies. "You came again," Zyra said with a soft smile. "I did not expect this. I wanted to learn more about your world," Alex said. "And I wanted to see you again, if that is acceptable." Zyra felt a warmth in her chest. Most alien suitors would have presented extravagant gifts or performed some grand display, but Alex simply showed respect and interest. That alone made him stand out. They began walking through the gardens, talking quietly about life, planets, and the stars. Zyra asked him about his home world, Terra Prime, and about the adventures that had brought him to Valoria. Alex spoke with humility, describing dangers he had faced, colonies he had helped, and the humans he had worked with. He did not boast, yet Zyra could sense the depth of his experiences. As they talked, Zyra noticed that Alex listened carefully. He asked questions, remembered details, and never interrupted. Most alien nobles had spoken only to impress her, but Alex spoke to understand her. Zyra found herself relaxing more than she had with anyone else. Meanwhile, the other alien suitors who had been lingering around Valoria began to grow anxious. They had expected to win Zyra's favor easily, yet the human had appeared and done what none of them could. Whispers spread through the noble circles. The human. He is unusual. Too clever. Too brave. The princess. She seems interested in him. Jealousy and suspicion stirred. Days passed and Zyra continued to spend time with Alex, often exploring parts of Valoria that few visitors saw. They traveled to floating gardens, crystal caves, and observatories perched high above the cities. Alex marveled at the beauty of Valoria, but Zyra noticed that he admired it without taking it for granted. He spoke of the ingenuity of her people, their traditions, and their ways of living. Zyra felt proud and seen, as if he understood her world without judgment. One afternoon, as they explored the edge of the palace grounds, a sudden alert rang through the communication network. A rogue starship had been reported near Valoria, armed and potentially hostile. Most nobles panicked, sending fleets and trying to plan attacks. Zira's advisors looked to her, waiting for orders. Alex stepped forward. "Let's assess the situation first," he said calmly. He pulled out his device and displayed the starship's trajectory and potential weapons. "We need to understand its capabilities. A direct attack could be dangerous, but there are other ways to handle it." Zira watched in admiration as he analyzed the problem logically and quickly. He suggested a series of maneuvers, combining Valoria's defensive systems with clever misdirection to prevent the ship from causing harm. The advisors were skeptical, but Alex's confidence and precision left no room for doubt. Together, Zira and Alex coordinated the defense. The starship approached cautiously, scanning the area, but was met with clever tactics and unexpected strategies. Alex's calm guidance prevented panic, and the starship eventually retreated without any conflict. The advisors were stunned, whispering to each other about the human's brilliance. Zira felt a quiet pride and deepening trust. That evening, as the sun set behind Valoria's mountains, Zira and Alex sat on a high balcony overlooking the city. The sky was painted with shades of orange and violet. "You amaze me," Zira said softly. "I have never seen anyone think so clearly and act so bravely at the same time." Alex shook his head. "I only try to do what is right. Anyone could do the same if they tried." Zira smiled, feeling a connection she had never felt before. "Most people would not try," she said. "Most people would care only for themselves or their power. You are different." "I suppose humans have to be different," Alex said lightly. "We do not have the same advantages as others. We rely on our minds, our courage, and our ability to adapt. Maybe that makes us unusual to the rest of the galaxy." Zira's heart swelled. She realized that what she admired most was not just Alex's bravery, but his humility and kindness. The galaxy often judged strength by wealth or armies, but Alex showed her that true strength was in character, in courage, and in the willingness to act for others. As days turned into weeks, their bond grew stronger. Zira introduced Alex to her friends and teachers who were initially skeptical. Some worried about the political implications, fearing that a human could disrupt alliances or anger powerful civilizations. Yet Alex treated everyone with respect, listening and learning, never trying to dominate or impress. Slowly, even the skeptics began to respect him. The alien nobles who had hoped to win Zira's hand grew restless. They tried to compete by offering new gifts, arranging public displays and issuing challenges. But none of it mattered. Zira's attention had shifted. She no longer measured suitors by their wealth or power. She valued courage, intelligence, and kindness, and Alex had all three in abundance. One day, Zira and Alex were exploring the palace's observatory, a place where the stars seemed close enough to touch. Zira looked at the vast galaxy spread before them. "Do you ever think about how small we are?" she asked. "All these civilizations, fleets, and planets, and yet one human can make a difference," Alex smiled. "That is the thing about humans. We are small, yes, but we can be brave, clever, and determined. One person can change many lives if they act with purpose." Zira felt a deep admiration for him. She had never met anyone who spoke so simply yet so truthfully. She realized that her feelings were changing. It was not just respect anymore. She cared for him. She wanted to know him more, to understand him completely, and perhaps to share her life with him in ways she had never imagined. Meanwhile, rumors spread across Valoria and beyond. The galaxy whispered about the human who had impressed the princess, who had acted bravely in dangerous situations, and who had captured the attention of one of the most admired figures in the stars. Some were skeptical, others jealous, and a few secretly hopeful that humans were finally being recognized for their courage and cleverness. One evening, Zira and Alex returned from a long exploration of the crystal caves outside the city. They had laughed, shared stories, and solved small puzzles together. As they walked back to the palace, Zira felt a moment of hesitation. She stopped and turned to him. "Alex," she said softly, "you know that the galaxy expects me to choose someone powerful, rich, or influential. Choosing you, it will shock everyone." Alex looked at her calmly. "I am aware," he said, "but what matters is not what the galaxy expects. What matters is what is right for you, and for those who need help. I did not come here for glory or recognition. I came to help and I will continue to help. That is enough for me. Zira felt her heart swell with emotion. She realized that his courage, humility, and honesty were exactly what she had been searching for. She could not ignore the connection she felt. The human who had arrived unannounced, who had solved impossible problems, and who had acted without fear, had now become the person she admired most. As the palace lights glowed, the galaxy was buzzing with rumors about the human who had captured Princess Zyra's attention. Alien nobles whispered in fear and envy, and news across planets carried stories of Captain Alex Rin's courage. But for Zyra, the whispers mattered little. Her focus was on the future, on understanding this human who had changed everything she thought she knew about strength and bravery. One quiet morning, a warning arrived at Valoria. A warlike faction from a distant system, known as the Zerath Dominion, had sent a message to the princess. Their leaders demanded Zira's hand in marriage, or they would attack Valoria. The message was blunt, threatening, and filled with arrogance. They assumed that the princess would choose a powerful alien suitor to avoid conflict. They did not consider that she might choose a human. Zyra called an emergency meeting in the palace's strategy chamber. Her advisors, generals, and council members gathered quickly. Holographic maps of the galaxy, displaying fleets and systems, filled the room. Every advisor spoke nervously. Most alien nobles were unwilling to face the Dominion. Their fleets were strong, but they lacked the courage and coordination to deal with such unpredictable enemies. Zyra looked around the room. "We cannot let fear control us," she said firmly. "This is Valoria. We will not surrender, but we must act wisely." Alex, standing near the corner of the chamber, stepped forward. "I can help," he said. "We need to understand their tactics first. Then we can create a plan that uses our strengths and minimizes risk." The council was skeptical. A human, they wondered. Could a human guide an entire planetary defense against a warlike faction? But Zyra trusted him. She had seen his mind at work, his courage in action, and his intelligence in problem-solving. She turned to the council. "He is right. Let us listen." Alex immediately began analyzing the Dominion fleet. He pulled out a portable device and displayed detailed information about ship speed, weapons, and formations. "Their fleet is powerful," he said, "but predictable. They rely on intimidation and brute force. If we can control the battle's flow, we can force them to retreat or surrender without heavy losses." Zyra watched as Alex moved through calculations, his mind sharp and focused. He coordinated with the palace generals, suggesting maneuvers that combined Valoria's advanced defenses with clever tactics. He emphasized speed, agility, and surprise rather than brute strength. Slowly, the generals began to understand the brilliance of his plan. "Prepare the fleet," Alex instructed, "but we will not attack directly. We will use the Dominion's expectations against them. They think they can intimidate us. We will show them the opposite." The next day, the Zerath Dominion fleet appeared near Valoria, massive and imposing. Their ships bristled with weapons, and their commanders exuded confidence. Most civilizations would have panicked. Many alien nobles hid behind their advisors, hoping for negotiation. But Zyra stood at the observation deck, calm and resolute. Beside her, Alex prepared the fleet, issuing instructions with confidence and clarity. The battle began, but it was unlike anything the galaxy had expected. Alex's tactics were precise and daring. Small Valorian ships, guided by human strategy, moved in unexpected patterns, confusing the Dominion commanders. Decoys, timed attacks, and rapid maneuvers forced the enemy fleet to split and retreat. Valoria's defenses remained strong, yet the battle caused minimal damage to either side. Throughout the operation, Zyra observed Alex in awe. He was everywhere at once, analyzing data, directing ships, predicting enemy movements. He acted calmly, decisively, and without arrogance. Each decision he made saved lives, both of his allies and of those in the Dominion fleet. Finally, the Dominion commander realized that Valoria's fleet was unbeatable, not because of size or technology, but because of Alex's strategy. "This human," he muttered. "He is not like the others. He is clever and fearless." "Retreat!" The Dominion fleet pulled back, leaving Valoria unscathed. Cheers erupted throughout the palace and the city. Advisors, nobles, and citizens alike were stunned. A human had led the defense of a powerful planet and emerged victorious. For many, it was a lesson that humans were not to be underestimated. Zyra turned to Alex, her eyes shining with pride. "You did it," she said softly. "You saved Valoria." Alex shook his head. "We did it together," he said, motioning to the fleet and the generals. "I only guided them. The real credit belongs to everyone who acted with courage." Zyra felt her admiration deepen. Here was a human who could face overwhelming danger, make split-second decisions, and still remain humble. She realized that her feelings were no longer simple curiosity or respect. She cared for him deeply, and she knew that she could trust him with her life. After the battle, celebrations erupted across Valoria. Citizens cheered, songs were sung, and stories of the human captain spread quickly. Even the alien suitors who had hoped to win Zyra's hand were forced to acknowledge his brilliance. Some were angry, some were embarrassed, and some secretly wondered if they had been wrong to underestimate humans. Zyra, however, paid little attention to the politics. She found Alex in the quiet palace gardens, where the silver leaves glittered in the moonlight. "I cannot imagine anyone else facing that challenge the way you did," she said. Alex smiled, though a hint of fatigue showed on his face. "It was dangerous," he admitted, "but we succeeded. That is what matters." Zyra reached out, placing a hand gently on his arm. "You are not just brave," she said. "You are clever, kind, and true. You have shown me what real strength looks like." Alex looked at her, his expression calm but sincere. "Thank you, Princess. That means a lot coming from you. I have never met anyone like you either. You see people as they are, not as titles or tools." For a moment, silence fell between them. Stars reflected in Zyra's violet eyes, and she felt her heart race. She knew, without a doubt, that her feelings were deeper than admiration or friendship. She had found someone extraordinary, someone who understood her and inspired her in ways no one else ever had. The next days were filled with reflection and celebration. The galaxy had seen humans in a new light. Stories of bravery, intelligence, and quick thinking spread across star systems. Some civilizations began to reconsider their prejudice against humans, realizing that they were capable of feats beyond imagination. But not all were pleased. Some alien nobles still plotted, unwilling to accept that a human had captured the princess's attention. They whispered about politics, alliances, and power, trying to find ways to discredit Alex. Yet Zyra remained resolute. She had seen his character, his courage, and his wisdom. Nothing could change her mind. One evening, as the celebrations quieted and the city rested, Zyra found Alex on the balcony overlooking Valoria. The twin moons reflected off the rivers, and the city lights shimmered like stars fallen to the ground. "You have changed everything," she said softly. Alex shook his head. "I only did what was right. You, Princess, have changed how I see this galaxy. You see the best in people even when others do not. That is rare." Zyra smiled, feeling a surge of warmth and hope. "I have never felt this way before," she admitted. "Most people try to impress me, to gain something. You are different, and I care for you more than I expected." Alex reached out, taking her hand gently. "And I care for you, Princess, not because of power, titles, or fame, but because of who you are. Brave, kind, and true." For the first time, Zyra felt the galaxy could be ignored. She did not care about whispers, politics, or jealousy. What mattered was this human, standing before her, who had proven courage, loyalty, and intelligence beyond measure. And so, as Valoria rested under the twin moons, a new bond was forged. One that would not only shock the galaxy, but also redefine how human. The galaxy was still buzzing from the news. A human had led Valoria to safety and had gained the trust of Princess Zyra. Rumors traveled faster than light. Across star systems, alien nobles whispered in disbelief. Some were angry, some jealous, and others curious. Yet none dared to approach Valoria without considering the human captain. Inside the palace, preparations began for a grand assembly. Zyra had summoned all remaining suitors and the highest-ranking dignitaries to witness an announcement. The air was tense. Nobles exchanged wary glances, certain that Zyra would follow tradition and choose the most powerful, wealthy, or politically influential candidate. Alex arrived quietly, carrying nothing but his simple satchel. He did not bow deeply or speak in grand terms. He simply nodded politely to the attendants. To most, it seemed ordinary, even unimpressive. But Zyra's heart leapt. She felt calm with him, confident that he was exactly the person she wanted by her side. The assembly hall shimmered under Valoria's light crystals, casting rainbow reflections on the walls. Nobles filled the room, their expensive robes and gleaming insignias reflecting their status. Zyra walked to the center of the hall, her violet eyes scanning the crowd. Silence fell as she took a deep breath. "I have listened to many suitors," Zyra began. "I have seen gifts, fleets, and displays of power. I have seen promises made and oaths taken, but I have realized something very important." Her gaze fell on Alex. "Power and wealth do not define a person. True strength is courage, kindness, and wisdom. True greatness is in the heart and mind, not in titles or armies." Murmurs spread across the hall. Nobles whispered to each other, some shocked, some angry. A few whispered, "She cannot mean it. She cannot choose a human." Zyra ignored the murmurs. "There is one among us who has shown courage beyond measure. One who has acted not for glory but because it was right. One who has earned my respect, trust, and admiration. That person is Captain Alex Ryn, a human." Gasps echoed throughout the hall. Some nobles' faces turned pale. Others could not believe what they were hearing. A human. They had expected a Valorian prince, a Xandrian lord, or a Veyron warlord, not a simple human from a distant star. Alex stepped forward, standing beside Zyra. He did not speak immediately, letting her words settle in the room. His calm presence contrasted with the tension around them. He did not boast, he did not try to impress. He simply stood, ready to face the galaxy's shock with quiet confidence. Zyra continued, her voice firm and clear. "I have chosen him because he has shown me what true courage is. He has acted with wisdom and kindness when it was needed most. He has proven that strength is not measured by armies, wealth, or status, but by one's heart and mind. Captain Alex Ryn is the one I wish to stand beside. Not because he is powerful, but because he is extraordinary in ways the galaxy often overlooks." Silence filled the room. Nobles could not speak. Some were too shocked to move. Some whispered bitterly, questioning her choice. A few began to recognize the truth in her words, recalling the human who had saved Valoria and inspired respect across the stars. One of the alien suitors, a proud warlord from the planet Veyron, stepped forward. "Princess," he said, his voice trembling with anger, "you cannot mean this. A human is weak. He cannot lead, protect, or match the strength of my fleet." Zyra looked at him calmly. "You have strength, yes, but your strength alone does not define you. Courage, wisdom, and kindness do. Alex has all three. He has saved Valoria when your armies could not. He has earned my respect and trust. That is why I choose him." Another noble, a wealthy lord from Xandria, whispered, "The galaxy will mock Valoria for this choice. No one will understand." Zyra met his gaze. "Let the galaxy watch. They will see that humans, though underestimated, are capable of greatness. They will see that the heart, mind, and courage matter more than titles, wealth, or armies. This choice is mine, and I am certain of it." A murmur of admiration began to spread among the attendants and citizens present. Some had already heard of Alex's deeds and began to understand why the princess had chosen him. Whispers turned to quiet nods, and soon a few dignitaries stepped forward to acknowledge the truth. Alex remained quiet, letting Zyra speak for him. Finally, he said softly, "Princess, I do not seek your hand for power, wealth, or recognition. I have come to Valoria because it was right to help. That is all I have ever wanted. But if I am to stand beside you, it will be as an equal, not a servant, not a prize. I will act with courage, wisdom, and heart as I always have." Zyra smiled, feeling her heart swell. "That is exactly why I chose you," she said. The rest of the assembly slowly realized that this choice was not only brave but also just. For the first time, many began to see humans in a new light. They had underestimated them, dismissed them, and even mocked them. But here was a human who had saved a planet, outsmarted powerful enemies, and earned the respect of a princess known for her wisdom and fairness. As the ceremony concluded, Zyra and Alex walked together through the palace gardens. The stars above Valoria shone brightly, reflecting in the rivers and pools. Citizens had gathered outside to witness the announcement, cheering for the princess's choice. Many had feared alien suitors would dominate the selection, but instead the human stood beside her, calm, humble, and courageous. "Do you realize what you have done?" Zyra asked softly, walking beside him. Alex shook his head. "I only acted as I always have. You chose me because of my actions and character, not because of who I am. That is what matters." Zyra laughed softly, a sound of relief and joy. "The galaxy will be in shock for a long time. Nobles, leaders, and rulers, they will not understand." Alex smiled. "Let them talk. What matters is what we do together and the lives we help. Let them see that humans can be brave, clever, and honorable." Over the following weeks, Valoria celebrated the princess's choice. Citizens and allies sent messages of congratulations. Stories of Alex's courage spread farther than ever before. The galaxy watched, slowly beginning to understand that humans were not weak, ordinary, or insignificant. One human had proven that courage. Intelligence and heart could change the course of events and inspire even the most powerful. Civilizations, alien suitors who had once hoped to win Zyra's hand now understood that no amount of wealth or fleet could match true character. Some left in anger, others in quiet respect. But all knew that a new chapter had begun, one where humans could no longer be underestimated. One evening, Zyra and Alex stood together on the palace balcony. The twin moons of Valoria reflected in the rivers below. "I never thought I would find someone like you," Zyra said, her voice soft and sincere. Alex turned to her. "And I never thought I would meet someone like you. Brave, wise, and true. You see beyond titles and power. You see the person who stands before you. That is rare in the galaxy." Zyra smiled, feeling a deep sense of peace. "Then we are both lucky," she said. Alex took her hand gently. "Yes, and together we will face the galaxy, not as princess and human, not as ruler and subject, but as partners. Equal, brave, and strong together." The stars above Valoria seemed to shine brighter that night, as if the galaxy itself acknowledged the union of courage, kindness, and wisdom. The choice of a human had shocked the galaxy, but it also inspired hope, respect, and admiration across star systems. Princess Zyra and Captain Alex Rin had not only chosen each other, they had shown the galaxy what true strength meant. And as they stood together, looking toward the endless stars, it was clear that their story was only just beginning. From distant planets to the closest moons, beings of every species began to reconsider their assumptions. Humans were no longer underestimated. One human had proven that courage, intelligence, and a kind heart could stand beside the most powerful in the galaxy and change the course of history. Zyra and Alex walked back into the palace hand in hand, ready to face the challenges of the galaxy together. Their bond was strong, their trust unshakable, and their hearts united. The galaxy watched, some in awe, some in disbelief, but all with a growing sense of respect for humans.